Hi there, if you're starting to record this or you're starting to view the recording of this broadcast webinar 2, it is 2:45 p.m. now, so I have started the broadcast so I can send the link to everyone. However, we won't start until 3 o'clock p.m., which means if you're watching the recording, you might want to fast forward to about 15 minutes into the recording, which would be 3 p.m. 3:05 once everyone gets there and we really start. So hope to see you then, or hope you can see it then. Hi folks, if you're joining, it's 2:55 p.m. and we'll be starting up with this webinar at about 3 o'clock or a few minutes after as people join at 3 p.m. Hi folks, Sean here. I'm just gonna close the window behind me because I've got a lot of street noise. There we go. There were a few people that are viewing the webinar I can see that haven't joined in yet. We have 2 viewers. So I'm just gonna give folks just a few more minutes to click through to the link to the webinar itself, not the presentation. If you know anyone around you that is trying to access and is confused, maybe you can guide them, and we'll go from there. I know I did it right because we do have 2 viewers, so I did share the link correctly. Just to test it out, the 2 viewers that are here, hopefully you can hear me as well. Make sure to turn up your microphone, not your microphone, but your speaker on your computer. You can see that over on the right, hopefully this is different than what you saw during our first webinar. The Q&A is activated here, and there's a blue band that says, well, that's my blue band, but it gives you a field to ask a question. So go ahead, whoever's on, and type a comment in there just so make sure I can see it. Let me know how you're doing, or if you have a specific question already, go for it. And we'll be starting soon. Okay, I hear Denise say I'm coming in loud and clear. So thank you, Denise. And the in addition to that chat window, which is available within your presentation. So when you're viewing the presentation, and that will say at the top, at the top it has the golden slide icon and says "Go in Google Webinar 2." That's the presentation, and you're looking at it like you're looking at a Google presentation. The chat has been activated there, and you can use chat to ask a question if you like. But on your event screen, you should also see a Q&A bar to the right. So if you want to ask a question there, you'll be able to do that too. So I'll just give it about 1 more minute and get going, and assume that others that are going to join might be joining or viewing the recorded webinar, which is fine too. Yay, we're up to 4 viewers. I see about 7 viewers of the presentation, so hopefully those other viewers will navigate over to the event itself. All right, well, it is 5 past, so I'm going to start presenting here to you. Rochelle will be joining us a little bit later as her plan, as she had an unexpected meeting that couldn't be foreseen or controlled. So she'll be joining us shortly. We worked together to make the content for this for you today. This is our second webinar in between our face-to-face sessions with you out in Everett, and we were really happy with the participation and the interaction of the first webinar. Today's webinar is going to focus on Gmail, which is a new tool for many of you and has a little bit of a learning curve and offers many features beyond just the simple sending and receiving of mail. So we're going to be going through a lot of tricks for you that you can use with your mail that will hopefully make your life easier and make organizing your mail and responding to mail and tracking mail a lot easier for you, because we know that as being teachers ourselves, that can be rather a stressful aspect of our jobs, receiving and managing email. And Google has tools that will help you with that. So I'm just going to keep this in this presentation mode so I don't take up my whole screen, especially as I'm going to be switching over to my own mail in a moment and doing a lot of what I'm the content of this webinar by showing you my own Gmail, nothing confidential. And the presentation is accessible at this shortened link, bit.ly/EverettGWebinar2, but also through your own Google Drive, as we have put it into the Going Google folder that was shared with you during the previous webinar, and it should be available right there in the Going Google folder. Within that folder, there's another folder that is called Webinar 1. We didn't make a folder for Webinar 2 because we're not really having supporting documents for this, as we are focusing on mail. So for today, also really important, do sign in. We created a Google form for you to do this. So whether you are viewing the webinar live or viewing the recording of the webinar, make sure that you do sign in at bit.ly/Everett. I was here too. No capitals in any of that. And it's a simple sign in. Be sure to put your name in there as well. There were a few people the last time that signed in and didn't write a name into the form. What we did simply was just share that form with your administrators so that they knew who was there. So if you were there and you didn't sign in properly, you can work that out with them. But do make sure you put your name and indicate whether you're watching the webinar live or the recording of the webinar. So today, oops, that agenda is wrong. Sorry about that. That was a copy from the last one. Do you know what I can do there? Is just simply delete it because our agenda is mail. So we're going to be talking about mail. And since you are Google Apps for Education users at this point, let me just see, the viewer number is 5. That's good. Your Google Apps for Education users, you have mail activated, and I already saw you, some of you folks starting to use mail during our first face-to-face sessions. Mail is a component of Google Apps, and we've known it for a long time as Gmail, as part of what Google offered to the public, and now essentially in districts that are using Google Apps for Education, mail is available to you as well. And you may also know some business owners or business folks that use Gmail while being part of their own business domain. So when they signed up for Google Apps for Business, they also had mail. But regardless of that, Gmail works much the same way across any platform. You may notice some differences between what I show you today and what you are able to see in your own mail and that's not something that's really in my control. It's something you can discuss with Mark in terms of the way the app was rolled out to you. But we'll be giving you the basics and some strategies for organizing your mail. So I'm going to first talk about the basics of Gmail. And for those of you who know those basics, we will be getting into other aspects of Gmail that are more advanced that you probably are not aware of. So first of all, we're going to be talking about composing and replying to emails, and formatting your email, attaching within email. Because you have Google Drive active, you can attach not only files, but items from Google Drive itself, so that you don't have to have the physical document, not so much physical, but the document file saved on your computer in order to attach it to share it with someone else, using links within email, looking at the organization of your mailbox and some of the default labels such as drafts. So we have a draft section of the mail, which actually is a label, searching your mail, how your emails are grouped, which is conversations, and doing some simple things like popping out replies so that you can see what you're typing while still being able to search in a mail is very useful. Managing attachments, and then printing emails or conversations will be what we talk about in our basics. So over here, I'm first going to show you my own mail. And Kelly from our group has emailed me, but I'm not going to email her back until the end. So you're looking at your basic mail interface, though this is my mail from my consultation company. So it's based out of speechtechie.com is where I get this Gmail, but it looks the same as many interfaces that use Gmail. Just to orient you to what you're seeing and to give us some vocabulary about the way that the mail is organized, you can see up here your banner. Yours has some identifying information indicating that it's a part of Everett. You also see links to other parts of Google, including this Plus Sean, which for me, because I have the Google Plus access, gets me into Google Plus. The matrix here, which brings you to the other apps, alerts and notifications, which I don't have any of at this time, and also for me, just an indicator here showing what account I'm signed into. Under here where it says mail, this is actually a menu that brings you to a few other aspects of mail. So whenever you see a down arrow in any Google product, like this one here, know that it will lead you to other pieces of that product or other functions of it. So in this case, in Gmail, I can switch from mail to contacts or tasks, which are other separate areas that we'll look at later. The menu bar up here has a selection tool, and when you actually do select something, that menu bar will change and give you options on what you can do with that particular mail item. So if nothing is selected, it looks different than when one thing is selected, as you can see. It has a refresh bar here and some more commands, which notice that we really don't have many actions here, but if you select messages, you would have them. This allows you, the arrows here allow you to page through the various emails that you have. Don't be afraid that you see I have 6,000 emails. None of them are really unread or unattended to. I'm not actually the best organizer of my own mail, so a lot of today will be sort of do as we say. These are things you can do, which we haven't gotten quite around to ourselves. The cog leads you to various places, including some settings on how you would like to view your display density. That means you can view your mail list in sort of squashed view, or cozy with a little bit of space in between them, or compact. It's showing that I have mine in compact here. And this is also where you get to settings. So this will be important later. The cog leads you to settings for your mail, which can allow you some some things that, some customizability that you can use within your mailbox. So you see over here in the left sidebar are default labels. So the ones up the top, default means they're automatically there. That includes things like inbox and your starred items, items you might have marked as important. Here's where you can navigate to your sent mail. That's very useful. And your drafts, if I bring that down, this is related to the use of Google+. So any circles that I have, it will show me emails from friends that I have within Google+, but also other circles, which I don't really use for this account, which is why they're blank. And then also some other labels that you might have collected for or created for yourself, or labels that you can utilize here. Down here on the left, you can see this is where chat within Gmail can be accessed. What it's doing is showing me the availability of some folks that I know in Google+ or contacts. So if you have added folks to your contacts, you'd be able to see who's available here and who's not. And you also can see Google+ contacts once you have that feature enabled, if you guys do. It's important to notice here, especially if you don't want chat to happen for you, and we'll talk about this more, you can set your chat availability there and your chat settings. So that was a look around the mailbox itself. Okay, we've got 7 viewers there. Sorry if I make you a little dizzy when I do that and pop it down there. But let's first talk about what it looks like within your mail when you're going to actually use mail. So notice here you have a big red compose button. Just like in Google Drive, that's where you would create. And just to talk about some of the fields here that you see, because you might not be aware of all of them. Just hide this little bar here so it's not in our way. So when composing an email, you naturally will type in the to fields, and you can select people that you want to CC or BCC. So BCC stands for blind CC, or a blind carbon copy. Those are people who you want to be able to view the mail exchange without anyone else knowing about it. It's something to use kind of sparingly or in various situations. So to create a message, if I wanted to email Rochelle, as I start typing in her name, I do get a selection of folks that have an R in their contact and that I've contacted before. So contacts can be set to automatically add to your contacts in this contact list when you receive an email. I'll go over that with you a little bit later, how that happens. But once you do that, you're able to select the person. And for Rochelle there, the reason we saw our picture is because we're connected with Google+. Okay, we also see the subject line, which is important to use. I do have a signature here that's automatically added to each email, and I'll tell you how you can do that if that's something that you would like. Particularly, a lot of teachers use the signature to put in their phone number where they can be reached directly, and other matters like their class website, or an inspirational quote or a resource can be put in a signature and automatically added to anything. So I'll just go here and I'll write, hello, this is a test email. Keep it very simple, but now we can look down here at the various places that, or various formatting options that you have for your email. So if you wanted to make something bold within an email, it's actually pretty simple to use your keyboard shortcuts with that. And on a Mac, that would be Command B, which would make it bold. But if you're not so sure what to do for those options or your keyboard shortcuts, you can just click on that A there and change, select fonts. This won't change the default font for your email. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later, but it will just change the font within the email that you're composing now. You can change the font and text size use bold, italic, and underline, change the text color, change alignment, use bullet points even within your email, and a few other features. So if I wanted to make that, again, italic or bold or red, I can do that. Okay, that's a little hard to read. So again, use that sparingly, but it's an option for you when you're creating an email. Now, the attachment feature here, the paperclip allows you to attach a file that's saved to your computer. So any files that are saved to your computer, you would then be prompted to upload them. And let's see. I've got some downloads here, and I can send Rochelle a little document. And when I say open, it will attach the document. That's a PDF. And show me a status bar while it's uploading. The bigger the file, the longer it'll take. If I don't want it there anymore, I can hit the X. If I want to preview what it was or make sure that I did the right document, I can actually click on that and it will download the document back for me. And then, this is in Chrome, I can click on that and it will show it in a separate tab. This can be a little bit of a confusing piece of Gmail, is that where did the attachment go? So part of what we want to talk about is managing attachments. This attachment right now is just showing in a tab. And if someone has emailed you an attachment, I haven't really saved the attachment yet. It's still saved in my email. But if you want to save the attachment, you can click on this little disk right over here. That disk icon is archaic because we don't use floppy disks anymore, but it still means save. So if I were to save that, it actually gives me a place to save it. It wants me to indicate where I would like it. If I wanted to put that instead on my desktop, I could do that and save it. And it again shows me that download status in the little thumbnail showing me the file. So that happens in Chrome. You can always X that out, get rid of that so you don't see it. It works a little bit different in Safari. When you click download, it often directly downloads the item. I just want to look here because Rochelle said something. Joining Hangout in 10. Cool. I'm going to say to her, cool. Okay, so moving back over to the email, we talked about all of these formatting features, but this is nice also because when you click on the little drive icon, which looks like a triangle here, it actually brings you right into your drive. And the drive that's associated with what you're signed into at this time. So if I wanted to attach to Rochelle the Go and Google Webinar file, it attaches that to her and I believe shares it with her. You might have to be careful about the sharing settings, making sure that the person is able to actually see it. So that's your basic stuff within there. And notice it now has the Go and Google Webinar. I'm going to X that out. Oops, sorry. And get rid of that attachment. I don't need it. So one of the things that I find helpful in some emails with folks is to direct them to a link. So anything that you attach, anything that you insert that's a link within an email will function as an active link for them, like so. So if I wanted to go to boston.com and tell them that more information is available at boston.com, even though this doesn't show this as an active link, on the other end, when the email is received, it generally is an active link. Your option there, just to make sure, is to highlight it and click the link, which will make it an active link. This link feature also will let you do things like this. Type text and make that a link. So if you highlight the text and click the link button, it will bring up a dialog box for you. allowing you to edit the text that is going to be seen by the reader, and then enter in the actual link, so you can add a link to the email. So that's how to use links in Gmail. Let me get rid of this. You may not even see this send and request money. That's part of Google Wallet, which is just another feature that's sort of like a competitor to PayPal. Nothing we really have to worry about for this. But insert photo, and I want to talk about photos and attachments as being something that can be done a little bit differently, especially on Macs too. So just like you would with an attachment, when you do insert photo, this is the reason photos are showing here. These are photos that have been added at some point to my blog. So those are photos that could be attached because I have them there. Silly one with QR code. But I also could go over here and click upload and either drag the photo onto that space or do choose photo to upload and locate a photo on my computer. Here's a screenshot. That's actually a saved like stock photo. And it will upload it and attach it to within the email. I tend not to do this as much in my email use because it's a little hard to manage where the photo goes. Because another option is to actually just add the photo as an attachment, and then it will function as an attachment rather than a photo within the email. So you can say to folks, see attached photo, and there you go. So as you can see, you have different options of how to put stuff in your email, and it can be kind of up to you to choose what to do. So I know that a lot of you are now Mac users, and it's nice to know that items that are on your computer within Mac, I can't really attest to this in PC. Let me just open a recent PDF here. This is a worksheet I've used with some students. They can actually be dragged directly into an email, and they will function as an attachment. They won't be in the middle of the email or anything annoying like that. So you can see I've got this PDF that's open. And right at the top of the PDF is this, actually you probably can't see that. Hold on, let me change the way I'm sharing my screen. Now you can see me. Hi. I'll do my entire screen. Good thing I thought of that. Okay. And there we go. You can see that I've got this file that's open here, and the way it looks is it's got a little icon here and the file name. This icon can be dragged right over into the email. You can see before I drop it off that the email now says drop files here, and if I drop it off and let go of it, get rid of this, it attached the files to the email. So that's another quick, easy way to attach a file. So if you have the file open, you can, windy, my door just slammed, you can just drag the icon from the file in, and you'll be able to attach it to your mail. So that's some email basics there. Hold on, let me change the way I'm sharing my screen so we don't have that effect anymore. Okay, and Rochelle's here too. Hi, Rochelle.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. You made it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we were just talking about mail and some of the basics. So jump in anytime you have something else to say. I did alert people to this question field, but no one has been typing any questions in there or within the chat. So I think we're probably okay. Can you see?
Okay, great. Yeah, I just checked chat, but I only saw a few comments. So.
Okay, cool. So going back to the webinar here, so we can see. All right, we talked about formatting and attaching, linking. anytime that you create an email here, if I choose not to send this to Rochelle now at this time and just close it, I haven't lost what I was doing. So that's an important thing to know. It kind of functions the same way as any document you would create in Drive, because anything that you start to do is going to be accessible in drafts. So if I go over here and click on drafts, I can see I've got a bunch of other drafts, but the most recent one, it shows me that it was from today, and that's the email that's back there for me. So that's one way you can search for things that you might have started, and you can see that essentially what's happening right here is in the search bar up top, it's searching in draft. Okay, but I didn't need to type that in. I just went to the sidebar and clicked drafts. But the search bar is hugely useful to me. It's sensitive both to contact names and the text of the emails. So if you needed to find an email about a particular topic, going to Nova Scotia soon, I can search Nova Scotia and see all of the correspondence that relates to that. So the search tool is very useful. You also can make the advanced search, you want it to be more specific in your search. So by clicking the, let me get rid of that, and then you can see, remember I said down arrows are your friends because they always give you more options. If I want to look for who sent it and who it went to, or the subject, or the words, or exclude words, I can look specifically for an attachment related to items and not include chats, and look for dates. So that's a very nice feature of the powerful search within your email there as well. We talked about search. There were a few questions last time, and I kind of botched my demonstration of the conversations feature. So the way emails are grouped in Gmail is automatically according to what are called conversations. So rather than have 8 different emails played throughout my account here for this particular conversation, it groups them together and shows who was in the conversation, and shows me that there are 8. This was a conversation about my going to school tomorrow. So if I click on it here, it shows me the conversation, and it doesn't show me a tab for each exchange in the conversation. It shows me a band at the top that shows you how it begins, then 3 hidden ones, and then the last 2 a band, and then your last actual message. So it's kind of like a little conversation sandwich. And to expand the other emails so you can see what they were about, you just tap there, and that's one level of expanding. So it shows me the first line of each email, and then to look particularly at one email, I can click on that one. Okay, and then a question someone asked also was, can you just forward one part of the conversation to someone? You can. Just be careful about this and notice exactly what you're doing. Because in a conversation, it's compressing not only the messages back and forth, but see also here these 3 dots which show the trimmed, they hide the trimmed content. So if I click the 3 dots, that brings me everything that was in the exchange. So if I actually forward this mail to someone, they would have the option of seeing what came before it. So, we all have committed an email problem, faux pas, at some point in our lives around this, or the reply all thing, which I should mention too. But if you wanted to forward just specific email content to someone else and really know what you're sending, the best thing that you can do is highlight the text, copy it, and compose a new message and put it in. That way you know exactly who you're sending it to and what you're sending to them. So up here in this, if I wanted to make a new reply to any conversation also, sometimes I continue a conversation, but it might be related to a different a different topic. So if I go up here, because this is to several people, I do have the reply option, reply to all option, or reply or forward, whereas you can note that this exchange in this email, I just have reply because there's no point in having a reply all. It was just one other person. So here, if I go to forward this particular message, one of the nice things to know about is if this was a new topic, but I knew I wanted to send it to these two people, arrows again are your friend. So if I click here on this little forward menu, I could change who I'm replying it to or change it to forward. I love this feature of being able to edit the subject. So this is helpful to anyone reading it to know that you're now talking about something else. So you can edit the subject and continue the converse within that conversation. Sometimes it just saves you time. Sometimes you might do it for other purposes. So what this did also over here is called a pop-out reply. So the pop-out reply will show you your email and you can work on it. You can actually have multiple pop-out replies here. You can compress them by clicking on that just straight little line. Then you can bring it back out. This allows you to go full screen with just that one email. That's useful also. But any given email here, if I wanted to view it, but then I'm like, oh, I can't, I need information from a different email in order to reply to this one. I can do reply that did an inline reply, and I could then use this little arrow here to do a pop-out reply and search. To find the email that I need. So those are some basics around getting around the email. I'm going to show you two. Let's just see. So printing can work much the same way as what we talked about with conversations. You can print all of a conversation, or you could print just part of a conversation. So going back to this one that we had here. This is showing the Friday availability conversation, and if I click print, it will print the whole thing out. I also could just go and print one section of the conversation by going to that little section of it and selecting print. So that's there for you too. So organizing email, we talked about there are these default labels. Rochelle, I'm gonna talk for like 5 more minutes and then give it over to you.
Sure. Sounds
right.
good.
Sounds good. You're gonna cover some other pieces. We basically covered all that, so that's good. Let's talk about organizing within your email. So you have a number of options to organize. You can create what are called labels. You can use the default labels. You can delete email anytime you want. How to organize multiple emails into a label, we'll talk about, and color code labels. So what we're going to do here is take a look at my email here and try to organize it a little bit. You can see that one of the things that I can do is star an email. So starring is one way to organize an email, because if you just use your star, and you can decide actually in your settings to have multiple colors of stars so that you can color code by different levels of stars or different kinds of stars if you're a real color person. We'll talk about that in a moment. But any email that I star will just go into my starred email. So if I starred those two and go over here, that's one of my default labels, which is starred. It'll just show me the emails that are starred. Okay, and then I can just click to unstar them if they're not important anymore. Something that's also helpful to know too is if you like to organize your email by just paying attention to what you've read and what you've not read, once an email is read, okay, it goes from being bold in your email to being not bold, okay? But if you want to use as an organizational strategy, marking things unread to remember to go back to them, you can check off the box of the particular email and go up here to More and mark it as unread. You can see that that item now became unread, and that's useful for some folks as an organizational strategy. You just really kind of have to find what works for you. In addition, you see these little yellow cards here. Those are actually assigned by Gmail for what they think is important. So those go under the default label important. You can kind of make Gmail smarter by indicating whether something really is important or it's not important. Like a message from Dropbox, I can just click that and it marks the conversation as not important. While it's there, I can see all of my items that are important or marked as important. So Gmail tries to be smart and do that for you, and you can customize and make it a bit smarter. I'm not sure the exact algorithm that goes into there determining what emails are important versus what aren't. But that's another way to organize your mail, is with the important label. You can also create your own labels. So I'm going to check off this mail, or this conversation, and we can see here that there's a little menu that says that has a tag and has labels on it. You can do emails, you can email labels, or you can do folders. They're separate things. I almost feel like they shouldn't be, but let's just focus on labels for today because it is a useful, easy thing to do. So I can label this as any of my existing labels, or I can create a new label. I'm going to call this one presentations. I can then make that a sub-label of something else if I want, kind of like the way you use folders in Drive. I'm going to just call that one presentations. So not only has this been organized into presentations, it's now been labeled here in my mailbox so I can see the label, and a label has been created over here which says presentations. I actually can change the color coding of that by clicking on the down arrow. So remember, again, down arrows are your friends. Some of your down arrows are not really there until you hover over the item. I do label color, and I can make all my presentations orange. Okay, so that's now labeled there, and if I go to this label presentations, I can see all emails labeled presentations. I can then remove the label if I don't want to from this particular item because it's checked off. And you can manage your labels and delete any label that you want. So if I go down here to presentations, I can remove that label. It doesn't delete your email. So what does delete your email is deleting it. Now there's also this little area called archive, which saves you some space, but we kind of know things as delete or not being deleted. Okay. So deleting email, you can use your the little checkbox here that checks all of them. I could check all of those and delete them. I won't. I could check this. I know Rochelle and I had this conversation already, and I don't need it. And I can click delete. It moved it to an area called trash. So if I go over here to more, that allows me to view my trash. Everything stays in there for 30 days. So if you delete something by accident, you can undelete it. Okay. So if I click this one here, I can either delete it forever, or let me just see, I can move it to the inbox. So that is a way of using labels and deletion as well. It's important to note over here, regardless of what screen you're on, that spam can be important. So usually what you receive in spam is ridiculous, or in other languages, or flowery, or just totally inappropriate. And occasionally you might receive an email from someone, or someone says they sent you an email and it went to your spam. You actually can go to your spam folder here, and if something is not spam, it automatically gives you that option to move it and make it not spam. So you can X out the label spam, etc. So those are a few aspects of organizing. Oh, I just wanted to show you one thing in settings so you can see that too, because I talked about your colored stars, and some of you might be interested in that too. So over here in the cog I had mentioned before was the area called settings, and in addition to this being some areas where you can customize, it can also help with labels. Okay, so you can see here the stars part, and the stars will rotate in the order shown below when you click successively. So that means if I clicked the star once, it will show me the orange. I'm sorry, the yellow. If I click it twice, it will show the orange. This is all customizable as a way for you to just mark emails so that you can see them. All right, well, I'm going to hand it over to Rochelle for a few minutes, who's going to talk about contacts and chat and contact lists.
Okay, let me just take a moment to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So, like Sean, can everyone see my? Sean, can you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I am going to just walk through a couple of the key features of Gmail. One is chat, and the other one is just utilizing your contact lists and how to use them in a few useful ways. The first thing we're going to take a look at is chat, and I'm going to actually go into Gmail and show you how to invite or create a chat and kind of set up your I guess, contacts in a chat. So there are a few ways to chat in Gmail, and one is exactly how we're chatting right now, which is a video chat. So once you start setting up your contacts, if they have Google Plus accounts and or Gmail addresses, you can actually set up a Hangout just like we're doing today and talk to them live, kind of like a Skype. You can also just message them. So similar to the way you would maybe message someone on Facebook or IM someone just with text, you can also do that with Gmail as well. So to do that, I'm actually going to look over here at the left-hand side of the screen, and I have two icons down here. And depending on which version of Gmail you have, this might actually, if you haven't updated to Outlook, if you haven't updated to Hangouts yet, this might be a little square conversation box. It might look a little bit different. That's the older version of chat. But what we're going to do is, if I click on this, it will actually show all of the conversations that I've had recently. And if I click on the little person here, it will display my Gmail Hangout contacts. So a Hangout is essentially a chat. And what I'm going to do is just show you an invitation right now, how to invite someone to actually chat with you. Once you've invited someone to chat, they will actually be part of your contact list. So all you will need to do once you've chatted with them once is click on their name, and the chat will actually pop up. It's just taking a minute. And you will actually see here the history, the chat history, in this little box right here. So I'm going to show you right now how to invite somebody that you've never chatted with. Let me just get rid of this. Okay. So if you take a look, there's this little magnifying glass right here. I'm going to click on that. And what that's going to do is just search for people that are in your Gmail contacts list. So I'm going to enter an email. And as you can see, as I'm typing this, it's also pulling up other people that I might not have emailed prior to this, or that are not familiar to me, but have have Google Plus accounts. Sorry, at Gmail. Okay, so there I am. So this is actually my own account, another Gmail account that I have, but I'm just going to show you how I'm going to invite myself to a chat. So there I've called up myself, and I can do a couple of things. I can just check myself off here, or if I hover over my name here, there are a couple of options. This box will pop up, and I can add an invite to a chat, or I can invite to a video call here, hang out with this contact, or actually email this contact. So one thing I always say about Google is there are a few different ways to do everything. And you'll see that as you start to use it more and more. So actually I'm going to invite this person, or myself. Oh, what happened there? Sorry about that. And I apologize, this is moving extremely slow. There we go. So I'm going to click Add an Invite. So what this has done is added PD student Rochelle's to my contact list and to my circles, and it's also inviting PD student Rochelle's to a chat. So I'm actually going to go to that other account. There we go. And it might just take a minute. But once that invitation is sent, it won't actually show up in your primary inbox for Gmail. It will show up in social. So if I click social, it will eventually, the invitation will eventually show up here. And also here, this is my PD Rochelle's account. Rochelle will actually be added as a contact here. So since that's taking a few extra seconds, let's just go back here. Okay. And I'm just going to go back to my inbox. Okay. So like I said, if I want to revisit a chat, I can either just click on the contact here. I can search contacts here. And also, if I want to change my settings on a chat, what I can do is just click on this down arrow, and I can just take a look at my chat settings. So I can mute my notifications. I can, right now I have the box checked for sounds for incoming messages. I can share a status about my mood for today if someone's gonna message me. And here is also where I can sign out of Hangouts. So if I'm done with hanging out, this is where I will exit. Okay. The last thing I want to show you with chats is if you actually go into more here, you'll actually see a line item for chats. If you click on that, you will see all of the chats that you have had. So it's kind of archiving your chats. And if you click on that chat, it will open the chat right up, and you can continue with it. So again, multiple ways to do the same thing in Gmail. Okay, so we've invited someone to chat. We've turned our chat on and off. So now what we're going to do is work with some contact lists. And it took me, when I first started using Gmail, I could not figure this out for the life of me. I feel like it's very hidden. Once I did, it was like a whole new world. So what I'm going to do is just go back to Gmail. And to organize my contacts, all I need to do is go up to where it says Gmail right here and click the down arrow. And the options are Gmail and then Contacts. So if I click Contacts, this is where I'm going to organize any contacts that I may be adding or creating certain groups. So here are all my contacts right now. And I want to get rid of this message, just accept it so I can see my toolbar. Okay, so here are all of my contacts that I have in Gmail right now. To add a contact, I just click on this little person with a plus sign, and I can add a contact to my group here. I can actually create a group by scrolling down to the very bottom where it says New Group. So I'm going to create a new group right now called Everett. And click OK. Now, how do I actually get Gmail contacts into that Everett group? So here's the group I just created. If I click on it, there are no contacts in this group. So if I go back to my contacts and I actually click on a contact or search for a contact, let's say I want to add this particular person to my Everett group, I just click the checkbox, go to where it says Groups here, and click the down box here, and I'm going to check off Everett PD and apply. And now a Bartok has been added to Everett PD, and I know that because there's a little 1 beside it. There are a couple other ways to build your contact lists, and you can actually take, I'm going to go right here, you can actually take, and there's a link to this in the presentation, CSV files. So I'm not going to actually spend time doing it right now, but you can take an Excel spreadsheet. You can do a file and then do a save as. It's taking forever. And I just want to show you this little part of it because, let's see, I don't think a lot of people know that you can do this. If you save it as a CSV file, you'll be able to import it very easily into Gmail. You just need to make sure that you have it formatted correctly. So first name, last name, and then email. And this particular little help link will walk you through that. The other thing you can do is actually import your contact lists from another email provider. So here's my Outlook account, and what I did was I just went into People, and there's an option to export all of my contacts into Google. So if I press this, what it will do is it will turn it into a CSV file, and I'll be able to import it all into Google, and all of my contacts from Outlook will be now available in Google, in Gmail.
If I can add to that, you don't actually have to have Excel to do this because you can do it in your Google Drive. So let's say you wanted to collect emails from your entire class, because I know that you're in the process of getting, they're getting actual Everett Google accounts. You could create a shared spreadsheet, make it available to anyone with the link, and allow them to add their first name, last name, and email address to it. And then what Google Spreadsheets lets you do is download that as a CSV file, so then you can use that file into your contacts as well.
Exactly. And the other thing, too, that I just want to quickly demonstrate, Sean, that you could do is just essentially create the spreadsheet and then just copy and paste the addresses into your contacts list in email. So right now, I have that very valuable sign-in sheet that we did when we were there in person. And what I'm going to do is just show you how to just create or add this to your, I'm going to add this to my Everett group, and then I'm just going to show you how you can use it to actually very quickly share files. And for some reason, this is just really slow, so I apologize. So essentially what I'm going to do is just highlight. This is the sign-in sheet from that first session we had with you in Everett, and I'm gonna right-click on that, copy it. I'm gonna go back to Gmail. I'm gonna go into Everett PD, and then I'm gonna click on this little person here, and then I'm just gonna paste. Hello. And ultimately what that will do is, it's going to take a minute. I think it's the rain. I honestly don't know why everything's so slow today, but it may be. But anyways.
My satellite went out on my TV, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. So essentially, let me just try that again. I know we're short on time, but let me just try pasting that again and see if it works. It might just be taking a minute because there are so many needs. So what will happen is all of those names that I've cut and pasted will show up in this box, and then it will give me the option to add them, and they'll be added to Everett PD. But just one last thing I want to show you that's kind of neat is, let's say I want to share this presentation, or any document for that matter, and you want to share it with your students. So what you can do is just go down, I just click share on the document, and I'm going to share with people. But rather than typing in every single person, I can now just type in Everett PD odds are working against me today. All right, I'm going to pick another group. So let's say I wanted to email it to one of my groups called MassQ Going Google. All right, and there's 22 contacts in that group. If I click it, I can share just by entering the group name, which, as you can see, as I was typing it out, just popped up anyway because it was in my contact list. I can very quickly just click send, and now this presentation will be shared with that whole group. So if Gmail was cooperating right now, if I cut and pasted all of those your emails from your spreadsheet that you filled in at the session, and I cut and pasted it into that group, all I would need to do is type in Everett PD, and it would be zapped out to all of you very quickly. So that, let me cancel that. Okay, done.
And if I can add to that, the way this works once you have a full rollout of Google Apps to your district, which I know your district's working hard on doing that, is, in subsequent years you won't have to go through this in terms of managing your classes as contacts quite as much, because in Newton, where I worked, all of the students had the accounts, so they were able to generate just spreadsheets for the teachers, and then the teachers can just set up their classes using those spreadsheets. So using the student management systems, the CFV files could be created, which allowed the teachers to set them up as contact lists, which allowed easy sharing. And I think even when we talk about Google Classroom, we'll be finding out easier ways for this to happen too.
Okay, thank you. So just to wrap up, because I know we have we're running behind and we have a couple more slides to show you. If you want to add a contact to Google+, that's kind of the last thing I want to show you just quickly. You can very easily do that just by hovering over that contact. If they're not yet part of your Google+ circle, all you need to do is, here's Rochelle Cooper. If I look in her little box here, it says Add to Circles. Just by hovering over her name, I can click here and I can add her to my circles. Okay. And as a task beyond the webinar, if you want to practice this and create a contact list and write a practice email and share a document with the list, just like I did with the MassQ list, I encourage you to do that. So, Sean, I'm going to go back to you with that.
Okay. And I think that would probably be a great first and opening task and review for the beginning of our second day, is to just spend a little bit more time on Gmail and the things that we didn't get to, which is just one slide really, around customizing and allowing a few practice activities such as creating a label and applying it to mail, and creating some contact lists. So again, do be sure please to sign in if you were joining late. It's very important. That's the only way we can show that you were here or that you watched the recorded webinar at bit.ly Everett I was here too. And we're going to be out in your district in a couple of weeks again on 11/4 for a second session, which will take up, I guess, about half the day is what we were hearing. So we're dutifully preparing that for you. I wrote on this wrap-up, YouTube is your friend, just because anything that might have gone a little fast for you here, or if there's anything that didn't get covered, that you want to know how to do with any of these apps, but Gmail especially, there's a humongous repository of tutorial videos up on YouTube that you can pull up to review or to look into a particular feature or function of Gmail or Google Drive, so that you can see exactly how to do certain things. And they're all video tutorials like we basically produced here. So
and just one more thing, Sean. I found just in my research of Google and Gmail that Google's Help Center is really quite helpful, and they do a very good job of explaining and breaking down things into very manageable pieces. So in the slide that I just was talking about that showed you how to create a CSV file and import your contacts, that was actually from Google Help, and Sean linked that right into the presentation. So if you need to further, explore certain things in Gmail, it's easy enough just to click Help and do a search there to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely have learned a lot just from Google's own support pages, and actually those can tend to be the most updated resources, of course, because they're right from Google, whereas a video tutorial might not be showing you everything. So when you do look up video tutorials on YouTube, you can make sure that you're sorting by date so that you're looking at more recent ones as well, so that you make sure you're getting updated information, because things do tend to change a lot within Google Apps. Okay. So I guess thank you for those who joined in. I'm happy to have had a group of viewers, and we'll be taking a look, seeing how many other viewers we get. as this goes to YouTube. So I will be sending the link to everyone anyway, so everyone will get that. But be sure to let everyone know that that's going out. There was one question that was emailed directly to me that the presentation itself to go in Google, because I put it in the folder that Rochelle created. I think you guys couldn't see it unless you went directly to the link that I emailed. So I will just make sure we tweak the sharing settings on that folder, and sorry about that. It's just can be a complex process. Alrighty, thank you all. Have a good rainy day. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right.